Hello everyone, this is Justin, and today we are going to cover Brexit in 5 minutes. On June 23, 2016, Britain held a referendum, a nationwide vote, on the issue of EU membership. With 52% voting to leave, the British people had cast their vote in to leave the European Union, a shocking announcement given Britain's integral part in the formation of the EU many years ago. While there exists a lot of research regarding why the British people decided to leave, and even now the causes are debated back and forth, it ultimately boils down to two main reasons. First, immigration fears. The EU has predicated itself on the notion of free travel between European states. With the rise of immigration, both economic migrants and refugees from nearby conflicts, such as the Syrian civil war, people began to feel anxious about immigration. Many felt that migrants were taking away their jobs, and that refugees could even be dangerous. As a result, many British people felt that the government should restrict immigration, or at least have more regulations. However, being a part of the EU can prevent these actions from happening, because member states must abide by certain rules. Leaving the EU would allow more freedom for the UK to dictate its own policies. Secondly, there was a loss of confidence in the economic benefits of the EU. With the 2008 financial crisis, Greece's debt catastrophe, and other economic woes, the EU's economic system has been constantly tested. Larger states like Britain, Germany, and France had to be responsible in making sure the EU didn't collapse, meaning a lot of their money had to go towards supporting other nations. Without the legitimacy of the strong economic growth, the EU looked like it was a failing institution, and many people felt that there needed to be some sort of change. After announcing the results of the referendum, the Prime Minister at the time, David Cameron, resigned. Because of the British parliamentary system, in this specific case, the next Prime Minister would be chosen by the ministers and not by a popular vote. In other words, the British people did not have a general election. Instead, the members of Parliament voted to elect the new Prime Minister, Theresa May, who took over the role 3 weeks after Cameron resigned. As the new Prime Minister, her stance was clear. The British people had voted, and their vote must be respected. Britain will officially leave the EU on March 29, 2019, which is only 3 months away. Between the 3 years that the Brexit referendum was held and the final leave date, Britain has been trying to come up with a deal with the EU. When you think about it, it is hard to imagine a world in which Britain is not part of the EU. Does that mean they are not part of any of the treaties anymore? How will trading relations be affected? Taxes, tariffs, imports, and exports. All these questions need to be answered, but more importantly, need to be concretely conceptualized. For 2 years, Prime Minister Theresa May has been negotiating with the British government and the EU with coming up with a deal. Just recently, May was able to introduce her EU withdrawal bill to the British parliamentary. This bill contained over 600 pages dealing with how much Britain owes the EU, what future relationships looks like, logistics, and even more. If the Parliament voted to pass this bill, then it would go to the EU for final acceptance. And if Parliament voted no, then Theresa May would have to go back to the drawing board. Well, 5 days ago, on January 15, 2019, the EU withdrawal bill was completely defeated by the British government, with 432 no votes and 202 yes votes. Not only was this deal rejected, a following no confidence vote was held for Prime Minister Theresa May. A no confidence vote is a vote which states that a person in a position of responsibility is no longer deemed fit to hold that position. In other words, many people felt that Prime Minister Theresa May was no longer capable of uniting and leading the British people, and that a new leader needed to be elected. In an incredibly close vote, Theresa May survived the no confidence vote, meaning she still remains in power and still has to find a new solution before March. So what are the takeaways? Well, first, Britain announced that it was going to leave the EU in 2016, and is set to leave officially in 2019. They have spent the last 3 years trying to formulate a deal to leave the EU on good terms. However, This deal that was being negotiated was completely rejected by the British government, and a following no confidence vote was held for Prime Minister Theresa May. Although she survived it, the future remains unclear. Remember, March 29, 2019 is the final date, and it's coming. With a very fractured government, Britain looks like it might not end up with any deal at all. So what should you look out for? Well, look out for a new deal between now and March 29. It is likely that either Theresa May holds another vote for a slightly modified version of the deal as a Hail Mary attempt, or she might go for an extension of the date in order to create more time for negotiations. Thank you everyone for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a like, subscribe for weekly content, and comment down below if you want to see me cover a specific topic.